Welcome to T.R.U.E Wellness with Dr. D, the podcast where we explore what it takes to live with vitality, balance, and purpose. I am Dr. D, and each week I'll bring you powerful tools, inspiring stories, and expert insights to help you thrive in every area of your life. From health and wellness to mindset and navigating life's challenges, this podcast is your guide to creating a life of true well-being. Be sure to check the show notes and grab your free copy of the T.R.U.E Wellness Checklist so you can get started on your journey to true wellness right away. Now, let's get started. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of T.R.U.E Wellness with Dr. D. How many of you have felt like you've been on the diet roller coaster? How many of you feel like your life is driven by food and you've gotten trapped and stuck in your mind to the point where it can be paralyzing? Anybody? Well, today I am joined by Debbie, who has been working with us at Self-Sabotage Wellness and who was exactly in that spot and has gained freedom of her mind, her body, and her life in general. So welcome, Debbie. Thanks for being here with us today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
So tell us a little bit about that trap. What was that trap that you were experiencing?
I think when I feel like my age, and for many years, it's always been you have to look a certain way, you have to be a certain way, you have to wear a certain type of clothing, things like that. And it always kind of stuck in my head like I was never good enough. My body was never right enough. And then health reasons like thyroid problems started kicking in and I wasn't able to lose weight. And it made me feel less than. And I would go to different programs and try and lose the weight and I'd be successful for a little bit, but it would always be that, ooh, you gained 0.5 or you gained 0.2. And it just made you feel like you weren't good enough. And then about 5 years ago, I decided I need something different. And I always felt like I needed something different, but I didn't know what it was. And I remember coming to you and you asking me, like, what are your goals? Like, and I said, I'd say I would love weight loss, but I'm like, I don't want it to be all about weight loss. I want to figure out how to live my life in a way where food doesn't control me, that I could, respect food and respect my body and love my body and love myself and not be so consumed with losing weight. And it just so happened that I did lose weight. And then I actually, it did feel good, but I have to be honest, it scared me. And then I got nervous and then I just started getting like, am I going to I got lost, I guess you can say. And I wound up putting some of the weight back on and now I'm restarting the journey again with a completely different mindset. And that's very empowering. And I'm like so proud of myself. And to say that I'm proud of myself and to know me and know that I can say those words is huge success.
Yeah, I mean, I've loved witnessing your transformation on so many different levels. I don't think people realize how much we're often at odds with ourselves, how much we're literally just battling, whether it's our weight or whether we're good enough or, whether, oh my gosh, is my effort going to be worthwhile or how are people going to perceive me? I mean, even before we started, I'm like, oh my gosh, my hair looks awful. Seriously, these are the things that have been ingrained to us culturally and have such an impact.
They do. And sometimes they have their place. I mean, but for me, I don't know. It's so nice to know that, I had a get together and I used to have this like FOMO, like if I can't have the cake, I'm going to be missing out. And what will people think? And what will they say about me? And oh my goodness, and now I'm like, I don't want the cake. Like I choose not to have the cake. And it's not out of punishment. It's out of, I now understand why I shouldn't have the cake. You know what I'm saying? And if I wanted the cake, like at some points I actually sit and say to myself, is it something I really want, or am I just doing this because I feel like I have to fit in, or am I just doing this because I don't want anybody to get mad at me? I now have the tools to take a second and really think it through and process it. And it's like a freeing feeling. It's like I could, it's just, I'm so happy. So,
I love that. I love that. Well, I mean, this is real. I mean, this is real stories, real people. This
mhm,
is part of what's important for us in our podcast is
mhm.
I think we sometimes feel alone in our health journey, in these sort of internal struggles that we go through. And I bet you some people are listening right there and they're like, wait, what? You were like, okay, saying no to the cake? Like, how did you come to that place?
Um, I realized what it felt like to like get myself off of sugar and get myself off of dairy. Dairy was a hard one. You tried for many years to tell me no dairy, and I'm like, well, I'm trying. I would say I'm 80% no dairy. But this last detox that we did, I committed to myself because I know I want to feel better. And otherwise, I'm just going to keep going on the hamster wheel of, I'm the one doing this to myself. The self-sabotage was real. And I had to come to terms with that. And why was I doing that? And, and I've been to two of your retreats, and they've been eye-opening for me and life-changing, I should say. I've met amazing people, amazing women that are so supportive, and I don't feel so alone.
Yeah.
And you realize the people that you love in your life, their intentions mean well, they all mean well, but they're used to a certain type of you. So it's very hard to be the new me sometimes. So it took me a while to realize that I need to do this for me, not for everybody else. So I kind of forgot what the question was. I just kept going because I'm so
You're
proud of myself. And I'm so excited to like share with everybody because I know there's so many women just like me. Because when I do talk to even women I work with, it's just we're all on that, we beat ourselves up and oh my gosh, I have to go back because I gained 10 pounds. And so you
Mhm.
gain 10 pounds. Like what would you say to your daughter? What would you say to a friend? You wouldn't call them a failure because you gained 10 pounds. I mean, I lost 70 pounds and I put 30 pounds back on. And for the longest time, I couldn't get past the fact that I did that. And then one day I thought, but I didn't gain 70 pounds back. I gained 30
Right.
back. And what
Right.
do I need to do to fix that? I was doing exercise classes and I stopped. It was all things that I just kind of got in the way. Life got in the way. But I've
Right.
learned tools to like kind of get me back on track. And do I want to lose 7? I don't care what I lose. I haven't weighed myself in probably over a year. I went to the doctor today and I said to her, I don't look at, please don't tell me my weight. I won't look at it. Please erase it before I get off the scale. And
Yeah.
like, if you know me and you know me, the older me, I should say the younger me, before I got this age, like,
You just feel
what
younger now.
yeah, I do. I do. I feel like I'm kicking my 40-year-old self's butt in my
Yeah.
50s. So, but I would have never spoken up for myself like that, an advocate. I would have just taken the internal punishment of and just beat myself up, going, and then I'd be like, oh wait, do the math, Debbie. Their scale's always 5 pounds more, so you got to deduct that. But oh, I had jeans on, and I don't want any of that noise in my head anymore because that to me serves no purpose. My purpose is I want to feel healthy, and I go to the doctor. My blood pressure is always great. They always look at me like, you're doing awesome. What are you doing? No one ever tells me I need to lose weight. I tell myself that. So I have to stop that. So I'm really just eating to feel good. And in the process, if I lose the weight, then I'm happy about that. You know, I'm going to back to Pilates. And for the longest time, I mean, it took me a good 2 years to even exercise because of my anxiety about exercising.
Mhm.
And I look at myself and I just say positive things to myself. It's just so life transforming. I'm so grateful every single day. I'm just like, I can't believe I have all these tools now. Like I almost wish I would have had them sooner.
I know a lot of people say that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's hard. Sometimes it's like you get stuck and you're like, okay, I know I've got to make changes. I know my
Right.
health is struggling. I know I've got to put myself as a
Right.
priority. I know
Right.
I've got to do these things. And yet sometimes it just takes that little extra push to kind of get you into that
Yeah.
space where you're ready to take action and you're
Yes.
ready to get that momentum. I
Right.
mean, what was that for you? What was that little push that was like, okay, enough is enough. I've got to do something different. This just isn't okay anymore.
Yeah, well, I remember it was during COVID and they had that they were telling you that if you had any underlying conditions, you were more at risk. And
Right.
in my head I go, well, I have Hashimoto's and I have thyroid and
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's an immune issue. Like what do I need to do? I didn't know what to do. And I'm like, well, and I'm very like I need to get control of the situation. And I was on Facebook because what were we doing when we were stuck in the house. And I saw your I think it was like a seminar you were having for
Sure.
I think it was for menopause and for like hormonal, issues and whatnot. And
Yes.
I not so out of character for me, but I'm like, you know what? What do I have to lose? So I just signed up, and you were at the time right in Sable. So I was like, awesome. And then next thing you know, I was hooked because I can remember going to certain weight loss programs, sitting there in their meetings, listening to their talk. And it was always about what foods to eat, what foods not to eat. And I can remember thinking, I need more than that. This is
Yeah.
more for me than that. I need my why. Why do I keep doing this? Like I wanted to know my why, and I wanted to figure out the root cause. Why can't I lose weight? Why am I eating
Sure.
all of this food and I'm losing 0.5, 0.2, or I'm gaining weight? I'm like, what's wrong with me? Something's wrong with me. And it was my thyroid, and it was gluten and the dairy that I was eating and the sugars that I was eating. I mean, I'm thinking I'm eating healthy and I wasn't. And I've learned so much about food.
Mm.
And for a while it was hard. I had to isolate myself from people, not because I was upset with them or whatever, but because I needed to just kind of heal myself and focus on what I was doing and be conscious of it. Because once I've kind of trained myself, my behavior changed. And
Mhm.
I'm like, and now I'm more comfortable. And sometimes social situations are hard, but you have to kind of like talk positive to yourself and say things like, I've learned all this with you. So, you should be like, oh my goodness, and I don't know. I still can't believe I am this person. I'm so proud of me. And and it's funny because I was nervous to do this podcast
I know you
because
were.
I know, very, very nervous. And because it's hard for me to admit that I'm proud of myself, and here I am. And I remember one of my friends did a podcast with you, and she said, you're going to remember your why while you're doing it. You're going to remember your why. And I remember that was one of the first questions you asked me was, what's my why?
Yeah.
And my why was, and I remember saying, like, it's not about losing weight for me. It is and it isn't, but I know that I'm eating the wrong foods and I have to figure out why. Like, why do I have an autoimmune issue? Like, why did that happen? I
Yeah.
remember, and I remember you saying like, with the Band-Aid and like, sometimes like doctors will tell you, well, here, just do this and this will make it better. But it doesn't. Like, why was I having bursitis in my hips? Why was I having this knee pain? What am I doing wrong? I'm a pretty active woman, like it can't just be here, take a cortisone shot and you're okay. It should be like, why does my back hurt? Why do I have plantar fasciitis and I can't walk on my foot? I'm
Right.
like, what did I do?
Yeah.
And clearly I didn't fall, I didn't hurt myself. It had to be something. And I had to tell you, when I stopped the gluten, the foot pain went away, my hip pain went away, and I haven't had a migraine in 5 years. Like I used to get really bad headaches. I
Yeah.
used to, and I was also on the diet soda really bad. And I haven't even looked at that, haven't wanted that in 5 years. And it's just like I'm doing what I need to do. And it was all because during COVID, I was like, well, I don't want to I want to have a healthy immune system so my body can fight this virus if I
Yeah.
get it.
It's
And
like
I
there's
fought
almost,
it twice.
yeah, there was like two sides. It was like
Yeah,
that, it was the fear of like not going in that direction, but
right.
also like heading towards this is the life I really want. And I
Yes,
mean, you're busy, you're a teacher working
yes,
with little ones. And
yes.
so you don't have time to be
No,
tired or
no.
exhausted or,
Yeah,
in pain.
right. And it's so nice because I've been 27 years teaching and I can still get on the rug with my students, sit
Yeah.
on the floor and stand back up with them. Like there's not that's huge because when you teach little guys, you have to be on their level, and I still have that energy level with them and it's great. And I can remember walking down the hallway, like right when I first did the first detox and thinking, my back's not hurting. Like, wow,
Wow.
like I'm like, and like I stood up taller and I felt better, and then like I lost sight, things happened and I kind of lost my focus.
Mhm.
But I always committed it and I committed to myself and I said, I'm not ever giving up on this. Because there were times when I thought, oh, I'm just going to jump off the wagon because I was so ashamed of myself.
Notice
And
that it was because of that internal dialogue, that
mhm,
internal guilt and shame, the same thing that was kind of leaving you in that stuck pattern. Because
yes,
when we're battling ourselves, we can't move forward.
right.
You're either putting the energy in moving forward or you're going to stay stuck or move backwards when you're in
Yeah.
that
And
constant.
believe it, Yeah, and the easiest part is losing the weight. The hardest part is not even maintaining it. The hardest part is just kind of not sabotaging yourself and not getting angry with yourself and keeping yourself in like a, just like a headspace where like you make mistakes, you're not perfect, because I'm a perfectionist. I like things a certain way, and I've learned, that life has a way of throwing you some curveballs, and so I've learned so much. Just not even like, and it's helped so much in my health journey. It
Yeah.
really has. So.
What would you say is the biggest thing that's shifted for you in your mindset that's allowed you to kind of take on this new mindset? Because I mean, let's be honest, a lot of people stay stuck in that old mindset. They
Mhm.
don't know how to break out of it, and it
Mhm.
just becomes a trap,
Yeah,
right?
I
You're
think.
like, nope, no
Yeah,
trap for me.
I think the second retreat was a little bit more intimate, and when we talked about vulnerability,
Mm,
and when we talked about body image,
yes.
and you had to kind of come like basically be vulnerable. That's one thing that's very difficult for a lot of people, and it's uncomfortable, and I
Yeah.
felt safe enough to do it, and the shame that I felt
Mm,
just kind of, I would have never thought it dissipate, but it did, and just loving my body for what it has done for me. Like, I had my father passed away from cancer, and I watched that man be a strong, strong man
mm,
and slowly lose that strength and lose that ability to walk and that ability just to be a person, and it made me think, oh, I really need to be more grateful for you know, just the fact that I got up this morning, like just the fact that I can walk. So I'm going to walk. And if I don't walk 30 minutes and I walk 10 minutes, wow, I'm so glad I was able to walk today.
right.
Like it was like that's kind of what, just thanking my body for what it has done for me rather than beat my body up for what I
Mm,
can't seem to perceive to get because there's no perfection. So it just kind of made me, I think that's what it was. I really do think this, like, because I've always kind of been there, but then I'd fall back. But after the second retreat, I just kind of, and I remember driving home from that retreat saying, okay, you've gotten a lot out of this. You journaled a lot, you wrote a lot. Like I had like a talk with myself and I'm like, you've got this. And you're going to reach out to the
yeah.
women at the retreat, and you're going to talk with them and they're going to talk with you. And I still meet with Carissa and with you. And I am more vulnerable. I am more honest. And I think, and it's funny because I was afraid to do the podcast because the old me and the new me goes, stop it. You're going to be fine. Like this is going to be okay. So I like, and like we always say, like we thank our anxious brain. I thank it because it does give me, the anxiety does kind of stop me, make me think of things, but doesn't mean I can't do it. It
Yeah.
just means that I have to take a breath, be brave, and then go on and do it. As much as uncomfortable as I felt all day, I
Yes.
did things for myself and I took deep breaths. I drank my tea and I didn't think negative thoughts. I just thought, I'm going to get through this and it's going to be fine. I'm going to feel so proud of myself when
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
So I really, and I think the retreats were turning points for me. So
I love that. I
yeah,
love the retreats that we do. It's
I do
one
love
of
the
my
retreats.
favorite things to do.
Yeah. I talk, and it's funny because I talk to some of my colleagues at work about it and they're like, really? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, it was amazing. Like the first retreat we went to I think it was last March. I don't even remember.
Mhm, mhm.
And I was glowing at work. They're like, what happened? I go, I went on this retreat and I did meditation and I did this and I did yoga and I learned how to eat certain foods and I learned how to make certain things. I said, and I came back as if, and last year was one of the most stressful years of my career. It was one of the most stressful times. And I came back and I just was like, I learned so many tools to de-stress that I didn't really know before, because I'm so busy being that mom, being that teacher, doing what I need to do that me, what? Stressed? I don't know. I just thought that's what I'm supposed to be. But you hit
Yeah.
a certain age and you're like, no, I don't want to be this stressed
Mhm.
out anymore you know?
Yeah.
So I do think, because I felt, and I remember talking to Chris and thinking, I had this constant tennis match going on in my brain. Like, that it's just like, I feel like, you can't do this, you can do this, you can't do this, you can do this. You're not going to do this well. It's going to mess up. You should just quit. No, I shouldn't quit. And she said, Debbie, you need to do the retreats. She's like, we're going to do some work, and I'm telling you, you're going to learn ways. And I say to her, I go, the tennis match is over. I think I won.
I love
You
that.
know? So yeah, you know, yeah, and and I just, you have to take it. I mean, it's been 5 years, but it's been a really good, sometimes in the beginning, I was like, oh, I've been doing this for 5 years. I should be like, but no. And then you think, okay, now I've got this. I feel good. And all of a sudden life kind of throws you something and you're like, oh, this is going to be back again. Oh, those old thoughts are back again. But now I'm so aware of them. The other day, actually, I was like, I couldn't sleep and I was meditating and I was actually visualizing water just dripping like down me, and all the negative thoughts were just I was watching them just float off of me. And
Beautiful.
it really was. It really
Really,
was.
really beautiful. That's a really amazing visualization.
Mhm.
Everyone who's listening, take that one, use it, because
Mhm.
that's just a beautiful visualization that you used. You know,
Yes.
I hear there's been so much inner work, and people are probably saying, well, isn't there an end to your health journey?
I thought there was, but there's not.
It's like, no, you guys, we our health journey ends when we're 6 feet under, or we're in a, is it a box or a bag they put us in?
Yeah.
We're just
Right.
ashes, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's when our health journey ends. Otherwise,
Yes.
we need to be on top of our health, and we need to be
Yes.
maintaining. And I know for you, I mean, we were just having a conversation, like you've been to all the doctors, you've been to
Yes.
the things, and I mean, you've got to share with our
Yes.
listeners what you were told, because you wanted to do some checking in on your thyroid and your Hashimoto's, right?
Yes.
How did that
Yes.
go?
Well, it was this afternoon. I went and got my blood work again because I went 2 weeks ago and I asked for a full thyroid panel and they only did my T4. So I asked for a new appointment and I said to her, I really want to know because my thyroid levels went up a little bit. I really want to know if my antibodies are up.
Mhm.
And so she said to me, well, we didn't do that test because if they are up, there's nothing that we can do. And there's no medicine, and there's no medicine, but she said there's no way to cure that or to manage that. And I said, but there is. I said there could be foods that, because I said there was a point in the last couple of months where I wasn't really focused on my food intake so much. I
Right.
go, and I'm wondering if now I have antibodies back. I said, so, and if I do, then I know that I need what I need to do to reduce those. And then she looked at me like, what? And then she goes, okay, fine. And then she put it through. But I said, because there are certain foods I can avoid, because 15 years ago when I was diagnosed with this, I was told, and I specifically said to them, are there foods I can like not eat to
Right.
stop this autoimmune issue? And they looked at me, this was an endocrinologist, said, no, basically it's a waiting game. And once your thyroid levels get too low, then we have to put you on Synthroid. And I was like, oh, okay. And it was just so defeated. And I remember she said, and you just need to get on that treadmill and walk and eat less. And I was
Right.
like,
Move
okay,
more,
sure.
eat less,
Yeah.
and there was nothing else that you can do. And so yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
it's still
very frustrating.
mind-boggling to me today.
Hmm.
And the truth is, right,
Hmm.
your doctor probably just doesn't know, and they
Right.
probably mean really well, and the doctor
Yes.
really wants the best for you, but they're just educated in a different
Yes.
way, right? They're
Yes.
not looking at the things that might be contributing from that lens of, hey, is
Right.
nutrition having an impact? Hey, what
Right.
about your stress levels?
Right.
And are you getting exercise that's appropriate for your body? If you're really stressed out and you're spending 2 hours at the gym, well, that's not going to help your thyroid. It's going to
No.
make things worse, right? So
Right.
all those things make such a difference. But
Hmm.
it really depends on what's the lens that we're looking at
Right.
our health through. And that's why, for everybody, you really need to have a team.
Hmm.
You need to have a team. I tell my clients, it's not just me, right? I have my lens that I look through. But
Right.
if you've got another provider or your cardiologist or your endocrinologist, they're looking at things through a different lens. How do you get a big
Hmm.
picture? You got to bring all those lenses together, and then
Right.
you can see. And ultimately, it's like you are at the center of that. And so, I'm really proud of you too, because you're like, I'm in charge of my health.
Yes.
I'm going to take these things. And you're not, a lot of people point their fingers, they blame other people. Like, I didn't hear
Mhm.
you say, oh, it was my family's fault that
No.
I ate all these things. You said, no, you said, you know what? I asked myself, what is
Hmm.
it that's important to me and
Right.
that I want, And
Right.
the truth is, there might be times where you're like, hey, does this chocolate cake serve me? No. Does a chocolate cake serve me? Yes.
Right.
It might be different in different situations.
Right. Right. Like if I'm somewhere and it's like one of those like, well, no, but if it was like specially made or whatever, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll try a piece. But yeah, no. And people will say to me, I don't know how you do it. How are you managing this? And I'm like, and I'm like, sometimes it's hard. I go, but I have to remember that I choose to feel good. And it's not like I'm depriving myself. I'm learning how to make new things,
Yes.
and I'm buying, like if you would have ever said to me, oh, Deb, you're going to take a cookbook on the weekends and you're going to try cooking like vegan meals and that your husband's going to try some of them to if you would have asked my 40-year-old self I was going to be doing that, I would have been like, no, we're like chicken and burgers and steak kind of people. Like, what are you talking about? I'm going to make a vegan what did I made last weekend? I made a vegan cheese broccoli soup, and it was made with cashews and a bunch of other stuff. And I'm like, there was no cheese in it at all. And my husband's like, this is delicious. I'm like,
Yeah.
I go, and next we can make a butternut squash soup. I'm like, what? Like, if my mother-in-law could hear us now, she'd be like, you two? You're picky eaters. I'm like, well, clearly I had to do something, and sometimes things don't always taste great, but I'm like, I know nutritionally they're good for me, so I am going to try and put that into my diet.
Hey, this is Dr. D. I just wanted to remind you that you can get started on your true wellness journey. Go ahead and check the show notes and grab a link to the True Wellness Checklist. Now, let's get back to the episode. Yeah.
Especially those, like, those drinks I have to put, water. We have to put all
Yeah.
those fermented things in there, but I do it. And
Yes.
now it's acquired taste, and now I like it, actually.
Yes. It's
So,
it's funny. I don't think so. I think most of us did not grow up this way, right?
no.
A lot of us, speaking for myself or you, like,
Hmm.
my mother didn't know anything about any of this. She
Hmm.
worked at McDonald's and
Yeah.
she'd bring home McDonald's for us. Like,
Right.
that was what it was. And then she worked at
Right.
the diner as a
Hmm.
waitress. And we were always happy to get, French fries brought
Right.
home from the diner. I mean, diner
Right.
French fries on Long Island. Come on.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And
With
so
gravy and cheese.
exactly. I mean, it was just the
Mhm.
norm.
Right. So I had to give my mom credit because she tried to look in for my sister, the Feingold diet. And she
Oh yeah,
tried to find things, yes, for her. And then even with my daughter, but like I didn't realize how bad fast food was. And I let my daughter when she was younger eat
yes,
it, and now it's like, and now she's an adult and I try to tell her, like I haven't had fast food. That's another thing. I haven't had fast food in 5 years. I don't even know what a McDonald's French fry tastes like. I haven't had it, you
yes.
know? Like I see my colleagues order out for lunch and I'm like, ooh, and I'm like, no, I can't. It's not because I can't, it's just because I choose not to because I know what it'll do to my body. And I'm like, I really love feeling good. Feeling good feels good.
I love that. That's a perfect quote. Feeling good feels good. It
It
really does.
does. It really does.
Like when I think it's almost like we wear a mask sometimes. We don't realize how not good we're feeling until
Hmm.
we actually start to feel good. And then we're like, oh my gosh, how did I even function
Right.
at that level where
Right.
I thought I was okay?
Right. And like and sometimes even when I remember you saying once with menopause, like hot flashes you don't have to have hot flashes if you're eating what you're supposed to be eating. And it's like, when it's true, it's like, okay, well, I'm waking up at night and I'm feeling kind of sweaty. Well, what did I just do before I went to bed? I had sugar, or I had whatever, or I had, I ate that gluten-free pizza that I shouldn't have eaten,
Yes,
and I haven't done that since this January detox. And it's like, wow, I'm sleeping. I'm getting 8 hours of sleep. And here I am, 51-year-old woman, and I'm getting 8 hours of sleep. Like,
right.
who would have thunk it?
Yeah.
You
But sleep, but that's the whole thing. It's like in our culture, we
know?
have forgotten what normal is. Like we think
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
normal. You're in your 50s, you're not going to sleep.
Right.
No, that's not
Yes.
normal.
No, it's not. And like, why are you like that? Like, what can you do to help yourself? And when you learn it and you know it, like my mother always said, like when you know better, you do better.
Yes. Exactly.
you
Exactly.
know?
So, well, let me throw that question back at you.
Mhm.
I mean, what would you say to people who are like at the precipice of their journey and they're like, I don't know what to do next. I don't know if these things can change. I don't know
Mhm.
that I can feel any better. Like,
Right.
what would you say to them?
Um, I don't want to shame somebody and say like if you really commit to it, but the real truth is like I didn't give up on myself.
Mm,
Like I treated myself the way I would treat my daughter. Like I
right,
would, like if my daughter needed all of this, I would be full in helping her 110%.
right.
But why wouldn't I do that for myself?
It's so
My
true.
daughter, and it's like, so that's kind of where I'm at because I mean, it's a commitment for me, but like, even though it's for me, it's not, I'm still in a sense doing it for my daughter because my daughter's going to have me longer and
Absolutely.
she's also going to see how eating better helps because, younger children, like younger adults like to, indulge on things. And
Of
sometimes I'm like,
course.
you know,
I got a 19-year-old.
yes. So I'm like, all right, you do you, live your best life right now, sweetheart. But when you're my age, you're going to remember how I was.
Yeah.
And hopefully, hopefully being that role model helps for her.
I
So,
love that. I love that. I think, it's important. I think it's important what you said, right? Because there is a fine line between shaming ourselves
hmm
and beating ourselves up about something.
hmm
And then also being like, you know what? Maybe I'm not in integrity with myself. Like there's
right.
that fine line of that. It's about taking responsibility in a way that's empowering, not
hmm
taking responsibility from that frame of I'm a victim,
Right.
right? They're two very different things. And it's, we see clients all the time. They come in and they might be in a space where they're just beating themselves up. So they're like, yes, I want to change things,
Mm-hmm.
but if we're carrying around that guilt and shame, how do
hmm
we actually make changes that empower us? We can't because it's a
Right.
punishment.
Right.
Right? It's a
So
punishment.
I always like when I hear some of my friends like beat themselves up for like gaining weight or 5 pounds or whatever, I'm like, and they just say such negative things to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been there too. I've done it too, and I've been mad. And I go, it's okay to be mad at myself. It's totally okay to be mad about the situation, but it's not okay to beat myself up over it
Right.
because it's just like I treat myself as if I would treat another person. Would
Yeah.
never say to them, "Oh, look how fat you got. You can't go there. You can't do that. You're too big. You're going to be the biggest one there." Like you would never say that to anybody else. Why would you say that to yourself?
Yeah.
So I had to stop that, and that took training, and
Yeah.
that took journaling, and that took reading positive affirmations, and that took, a lot of a talk. And I mean, and it's funny as I got better at it, like the negative talk got smaller and smaller, and
Yeah.
it got to a point where I just said enough. But yeah, like I just feel like you have to commit to yourself, and you just have to understand that it's not going to be all it's not going to be it's an uphill battle. There's like, and you go 3 steps forward, then you go 2 steps backwards, but you still commit to yourself,
Yeah.
and you're not perfect. And that's been the hardest part for me. And I feel like that's where I kind of got stuck, but now I feel like I'm like, got through that. And now I'm kind of, I mean, who knows? In 3 days from now, I might be stuck again.
Well,
Mhm.
the thing that I'm hearing, the
Mhm.
power, right, in
Mhm.
what you're saying is we're always going to be human,
Yes.
right? And these
Yeah.
things are always going to creep in.
Mhm.
But
Yes.
what a difference it makes when you can be
Mhm.
like, oh, ha,
Mhm.
look at that. I'm saying that nasty thing
Mhm.
to myself. Well,
Yes.
how do I expect my body to react?
Right.
I always share with people about Dr. Emoto. He did that research on the water crystals where he took
Mhm.
the water and he said nice things to them or negative things to them or exposed them to,
Mhm.
music or hate or love or what have you. And the water crystals, so they would freeze the water crystals. And when there was that positive stuff that was happening, all those crystals were beautiful. And when that
Mhm.
negative stuff was happening, everything was, it looked like
Mhm.
a chaotic crystal. And
Right.
if you think about that, our body hears all of our thoughts. So if we're
Mhm.
like, you're fat, you're ugly, you're
Mhm.
this, you're that, and we're
Yeah.
just shaming ourselves into oblivion. And
Right.
there's a way your cells can come into this beautiful symphony, and they need to be in that beautiful symphony space to feel comfortable to release the weight.
Yes.
So
Yes.
sometimes, we have people who come into us and they're like, oh, my top goal is we're picky in our practice. If we have people who come in and they're like, all I want to do is lose weight, I don't care about my health. I'm like, we're
Yeah.
probably not the place for you, because
Right.
I want to see you actually grow and
Right.
sustain your weight loss for the long term. This is not a quick fix.
Yes.
But what's happening underneath that is all this like self beating up, right? It's not
Mhm.
just self-sabotage, it's just like beating yourselves up.
Right. And like I said, you stay on that hamster wheel of like, okay, I lose. It's like the yo-yo diet. You keep going. And I wanted to get off of that. And I just want to just be okay with food, because I wasn't okay with food because I didn't understand food.
Yeah.
And I really didn't. And now I feel like I have a better understanding. And, like I had that magical thinking for a while, the like childlike thinking where I thought, oh, okay, so now I'm going to do the positive affirmations and everything's going to be okay.
Let me just will it into existence.
Yeah, and now it doesn't work that way. And I like as I would talk to Chris, I'd be like, yeah, and then I'm starting to get it now. Like, oh, okay, so these things are going to always be there. I just need to be strong enough and have the tools to kind of get myself through it. And that's where I say I'm proud of myself, because I have those tools. Thank you very
Yes.
much. you
Yeah.
know, and
You're becoming an expert in
Mhm.
your own
Yeah,
humanness, right? In
yes,
your own, with your own mind and your
right,
own unconscious mind, and being
right.
like, oh, look at that. Isn't that funny? That thought's creeping
Yeah.
up again. But
And I'm not, yeah, and I don't try not to be preachy to other people, because what works for me might not work for somebody else. So who am I to say to you, like, oh, well, try positive affirmations. So maybe that's something you already do, but I was not doing that,
right,
and I wasn't thinking in a positive way. I viewed everything about food negatively. I viewed exercise negatively. I never thought about exercise in a way that would be a positive. And
yeah,
I just never did. I always looked at it as a punishment, like,
yeah,
oh, I ate that cake. Now I got to go on the treadmill for 20 minutes to burn it off. That's
mhm,
a punishment.
yes,
Exercise wasn't a good. I would get on the I'd get on the treadmill and the negative thoughts would click in. I'm like, what do you mean you exercise because it releases stress? It causes me more stress. Like, and then it was like, oh, so now I'm starting like, oh, I get it now. Like when I go for that walk, I feel better. I'm going because I want it. Like walking meditations from the last retreat are like a game changer for me. I mean, really, it's like I won't listen to certain songs when I'm walking because those remind me of when I used to exercise for
yeah,
other reasons. Like I
yeah.
just won't do it. And like I'm just rewiring my brain. It's like, it's just such a gift. I'm so grateful.
I love that. I love that. The truth is sometimes we are our own worst enemy. And
Mhm.
it's not even because of the actions that we're taking, but it's
Mhm.
because of the thoughts that we're having.
Yeah.
And when you can start to get present to what those thoughts are. And
Mhm.
it's tricky because Debbie, you're moving into this phase of mastery of
Mhm.
your thoughts, because you've done so much work and you're
Yes.
unpeeling layer after layer and really
Yes.
getting to the heart of what's underneath that never wanted to be revealed before, right? That's
Right.
courage. It takes
Yeah.
vulnerability. It takes something
Yes.
to that level of connection with ourself and
Mhm.
our humanity and all of that. But sometimes people just get lost. They're like,
Right.
oh, like it becomes, it's so scary to start to take a look at that they just
Right.
avoid looking at
Right.
it.
But
You
there
know?
was such a safe, you provide us such a safe space for that.
Yeah.
You really do. And it's a trusting space. And it's like these women I've met through these retreats are like such special people in my life now. Like they are strangers I didn't know. And now they're so significant for me.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's just, there's like that judgment. Like I'll never forget that first retreat. We just all felt like all of us women empowering each other. It was
Yeah.
so empowering. There was no judgment. There was no, oh, look at her. She's like lost this much weight, or there was none of that. Like, oh,
Mhm.
she's like, it was just, you just felt like you could be your authentic self,
Yeah.
you
What
know?
I'm hearing too, that's been really important, it sounds like, for you and your journey, is finding your tribe, finding the community where people get what you're doing, where you're coming from, what your commitment is, what your goals are, and they support you in that.
Right. Yeah. No, it's true. It's almost like I just look forward to it. I mean, and I'm signed up for the new program that you have, and I'm looking forward to that. I felt like I was like, ooh, that's so me. I'm ready.
Yeah,
So is it
it's
Body Beautiful, right? Is that what it is?
body beautiful.
Yeah.
It's going to be extraordinary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. And whereas like I keep saying the old me, but like the older version of me, a couple layers of added on before, would have been scared to try that. I would have been like, I don't know. Like even like, but I just instantly did it. Like, so, I was like, I'm excited about it. So,
It's about being comfortable with who we
mhm.
are and where we are, and being okay with that,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
not in a way that's okay with it in a way that's damaging to us, right? Because
Right.
there are some things out in our culture where people are like, hey, anything goes, and we're like, okay, but if you're doing things to harm yourself, I don't know if it, hey, if you're okay with harming yourself, then so
Right.
be it. But that's not a large part of what's happening out there
Hmm.
today too. So it's
Yeah.
like it's that line.
Yeah. Yeah.
What advice would you have for people who are getting ready to embark on a journey of taking care of themselves and embark on a journey of true wellness?
I think I would say to them, when you commit, understand that that commitment isn't going to be like, 6 months and I'm going to be fixed. Give yourself grace, give yourself time, give yourself patience, treat yourself like you would treat others, and try it. Even if you think, oh gosh, no, try it. Try it.
Take the risk, take the
Hmm.
chance, take the
Yes.
chance on yourself. I
Yes.
think so many women come from the space of they're not worth it, or they don't
Right.
deserve it, or
Right.
everybody else in their life is way more important than them.
Hmm.
I don't think that that's true.
No, and when you start taking care of yourself, it's like the trickle down theory. It's kind of like we always say about the mask and the airplane. You take care of yourself. It's amazing all the branches that come out and everything else around you seems to kind of be manageable, you know?
Yeah, it's
And
funny. We always ask, and you know this because we've asked you, we always get people's stress ratings at the
mm-hmm.
start of their programs, and we always
Yes,
monitor stress levels. And we'll see stress levels come down. And it's not that somebody's circumstances in their life is coming down. Like that's not
mhm,
like, oh, everything is all of a sudden roses. Like, come on, we've all lived
right,
long enough to know
right,
that life
right,
is like this roller coaster. Sometimes things are quiet and you're like, thank God. And then
right,
other times the crap hits the fan. And
right,
it's kind of that, like, that's just the way it goes. But
right.
when you feel better, like you said, like
Yes,
you respond to things in a very different way.
yes.
So,
Yes, and the darkness doesn't last as long when
mhm.
you have the tools and you are open to some of the new ways of thinking. Like the darkness sometimes gets in. What I mean by darkness is I just mean like the funks you get in, like
Yeah.
and the way stress kind of takes over, but you just say to yourself, okay, I'm going to give myself a couple of days and just kind of dwell whatever I have to do. But then I'm going to try this and this, and I'm going to make myself do it, and it's just try it. It's like and try to get out of your own head because it's just because,
Yeah.
it's a nicer place sometimes than your own head. You get trapped in there sometimes and but just grace. I think you have to give yourself some grace,
Yeah, I think you're right.
and
Like, get out of your head. Get out of
yes,
your head. Even if it's
and
you've got to write it
yes,
down, get it out of
yes.
your head. That's so
Be
powerful.
open-minded, and take the support and just because at first, it wasn't when I started with you, we weren't virtual. So it was an adjustment to go from face to face to virtual.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
that took some time. But then I said to myself, stop it. That's just an excuse. Just get on there and do it, and I did it because otherwise, I mean, it's just do it. Like the Nike commercial says.
There you go. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Very welcome.
I know that our listeners are going to relate to what it is that you're saying. I know that they're definitely going to see themselves in even in your journey, and I'm sure that you are going to inspire them. So thank you for your courage and your vulnerability, and thank you for your commitment for yourself and being able to share with us, how can we grow? How do we grow? And thank you for being that model.
Thank you. And thank you for all you've done for me. You've changed me for the better. So I greatly appreciate that. I mean, I know I did a lot of the work, but you definitely guided me along a lot of journeys. So for that, I'm forever grateful.
You're welcome.
Yes.
All right, everybody. With that, I look forward to having you join us for the next episode of True Wellness with Dr. D. This is Dr. D reminding you to tune into your body, connect with what matters, and embrace the journey to true wellness. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who's ready to redefine their health. Be sure to grab a copy of the True Wellness checklist right in the show notes. Let's keep redefining wellness and empowering change together. See you for the next episode.